Hello, good afternoon. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible? Walaikum Assalam, Noor. Okay, thank you for confirming. I'm sharing my screen. Just let me know if it is visible to you. Yeah, is it visible? Yeah, great. So, in the previous class, we have discussed about um, the basic of business environment, and we tried to understand the meaning of business environment, as well as we have studied both the types of environment which exist, which affect any business, that is internal environment with all the factors, as well as the external with the micro and the macro environment factors. I hope all the things are being clear to you. Why I'm repeating this? Because this question is very important. You might be asked about the meaning of business environment and the types of environment, that is internal and external. That is a very important question from your examination point of view. And there are a lot of chances this question would come up as a long answer. And few answers might also appear as the short ones from the things which we have discussed in the yesterday's class. So I hope everything is clear by now. So in today's class, we will be discussing a few topics from the next, your second unit. Your second unit is about nature and objectives of business. So over here, let me shift this. Okay. So over here, what they're saying, yeah, you need to understand the meaning of business. Actually, we have studied this in the previous class as well, but I'll quote one definition. And quoting a definition is very important from examination point of view. Whenever you are writing any question to define any topic and you have certain quotes from famous authors and scholars, uh, if you remember them, then please write the quotes as well and mention the name of the person, the name of the scholar who has given that, what do you say, that quote. So over here, while defining business, there is a famous economist named as Milton Friedman. What he said about business is, he said the main purpose of a business is to maximize profits for its owner, and in case of publicly traded company, the stockholders and its owners. So basically what business is, this Milton Friedman, the famous economist, he is saying the basic and the main concept of existence of any business is profit making. Well, in case of, when we are talking about in case of owners, the main thing is profit making. Whereas in case of publicly traded company, the profit for the stockholders is important. So the basis of any business is profit making. That's what Milton Friedman discussed about business. Also, the literal meaning of business is the state of being busy. there is one economist who has described business like this, that the state of being busy is known as business, right? So business refer to a set of organized activity for production and exchange of goods and services, also with an objective to earn profit, which is very important. The main aim, the main thing is earning profit. Also, business incorporates the entire human efforts directed towards the production or acquisition of wealth through the process of buying or maybe selling the goods and services. So it has been said that business is an economic activity which aims at production and sale or exchange of goods and services, also satisfying customer and creating surplus in the process. So this is how business is being defined. A short question might arise, define business. So you can quote this definition given by economist Milton Friedman. Also, you can define business the way I have explained to you. Now coming towards the characteristics of business. So characteristics mean the things which define a business, right? We'll be studying about few characteristics. So yeah, the first characteristic of business over here is business is an economic activity. Again and again, I'm repeating the same thing because the basis of any business is profit making, and profit making is an economic activity. So that is the first characteristic of it. It is undertaken with the object. So we are talking about the business, that business is undertaken with the object of earning money or livelihood, and not because of love, affection, sympathy, or any other sentimental reason. So the basic aim why anybody start a business is profit making, making money. You do not start any business because of love, affection, or sympathy, or any other sentimental reason. So that is the first characteristic under economic activity. It also involves exchange of sales, purchase of goods and services for mutual profit through the satisfaction of human wants. It also requires use of economic resources like land, labor, capital, and machinery. So this is how the first characteristics can be defined of business, that business is an economic activity. Now, the next one, we can say business involves production or procurement of goods and services. Wherever there is a business activity, there has to be some kind of production or procurement. Either you make the goods or you store or sell them. So that is the meaning of production or procurement of goods and services. Basically, business exists to satisfy the want of the consumer, right? If there is no want, if there is no demand in the market, there is no point of you starting any business, right? So the basic thing, the basic aim of existence of any business is to satisfy the want of the customers, or you can say consumers. Also, every business enterprise either manufactures the goods or acquire them from producer to be further sold to consumers or to the customers. Also, services like facilities offered to consumer in form of transportation, banking, electricity comes under this category. So what is this characteristic? This is production and procurement of goods and services. Wherever business is there, this production, either production has to be there or procurement of goods and services has to be there. So this is the next characteristic of business. Excuse me. Next one is, it is a sale of exchange of goods and service for the satisfaction of human need. Again and again, I am repeating the same thing, like that is the satisfaction or fulfilling the demand in the market or of the customers. So how the demand is being fulfilled, that is through sale or exchange of goods and services. So that is the next characteristic of business, right? Also, it also involves dealing in goods and services on a regular basis. So business involved dealing in goods and services on a regular basis. One single transaction of sale or purchase, therefore, does not constitute business. You produce something and you have sold that item. This whole procedure will not be known as business. Why? Because the characteristic of business is business has to be on a regular basis. That means it should reoccur again and again. A cycle has to be there. So if you are producing any article one time and selling it just for once, this activity will not constitute as business. Am I right? Clear? So for any business to be called as business, the procedure, the process has to be on a regular basis or on a reoccurring basis. Right. Next one is business objective is profit earning. So the main aim of every business is to earn income by way of profit. No business can survive for long without earning profit. That is very clear. If you do not earn any profit, your business is not going to run further, right? If you go into losses or there is no profit, there are chances, and there are 100% chances that your business is going to shut down in near future. So for running a successful running of any business, profit earning is very important. Next characteristic would be uncertainty of returns. Now, uncertainty of returns is like, let's take an example. I am producing certain articles, and certain articles which are being used only in you say summer season. I am into production of desert coolers. Just take an example, or these table fans. So what will be the market requirements? These articles are required only in summer season. If I produce heavy number of a desert cooler in winter season and expect it to be sold, obviously it's not going to sell in winter season. So a risk is there, always there. So whenever I am producing such kind of articles which are being used in certain kind of weather only or certain kind of region only, I need to be very careful in what time and for what period of time those products will be in demand in market, and when the demand is going to vanish. As soon as the winter is going to arrive, few months before itself, people stop buying these articles, right? So this is how certainty of risk is always there in any business. So this is very easy example of, you can say, uncertainty of returns, right? Next one is, again, it is saying in business, there is an element of risk. So that is very obvious. Risk implies the uncertainty of reward or the possibility of loss, right? Like I said, business is dependent upon the customer demand, and customer demand is like, it's never in a stable condition, right? It might go up or it might go down. The demand may go up or demand may go down. So there is an element of risk. Yes, the main objective or the main reason why a business is existing is demand. And this demand is not stable in nature. So it is always changing. It is very dynamic. So one need to be very care and aware that whatever business I am into, there is an element of risk because demand is not constant in nature. It might change accordingly. So this is how you can describe characteristics of business. A question might come defining the business and characteristics of business. So this is how you can explain it. Am I clear with characteristic and definition of business? Yes, no, anything? You people listening or not? I'm just. Should I move to next topic? Should I move to next topic? Is this topic clear? Okay, so the next thing over here is classification of business activities. So we'll be discussing about how the business activities are being classified. Well, business activities can broadly be classified into two categories. What are these categories? The first one is industry and the second one is the commerce. So there are various types of industries as well as commerce activities. We will look into them one by one. Coming to the industry, we talk about the industry. How we are going to define it? Basically, the sector where raw material gets converted into useful product is known as an industry. Also, the purpose of industry is to create, form utility by converting raw material into useful goods. And industry may produce consumer goods or capital goods. Goods such as bread, butter, cloth, etc. are categorized as consumer goods, whereas these goods are directly used by the consumers, right? Also, the goods such as machinery, cement are called capital goods, and they are used further in the production process to make useful product. Now, again, on these types of categories of goods, industry is being divided. Now, what are these category of industries or classification of industry? We'll see. The first category is primary, the second is secondary, and the third one is tertiary industry. Under primary industry, what do we have? It includes activity connected with the production of wealth directly from natural resources. Okay, so when we talk about production of wealth directly from natural resources, so what these natural resources are? Like water, air, land, right? So this is the primary industry. Also, it includes activities like extraction and processing of natural resources. Okay, so this is the first category under industry, that is the primary industry. Further, the primary industry is divided into subcategories. These categories are extractive industry and genetic industry. So in extractive industry, we have to extract or draw out product from natural sources. Examples could be coal mining industry, petroleum industry. So in these kind of industry, what do? We extract or draw out product from natural resources. Therefore, it is known as extractive industry. Then manufacturing industries are also there. So manufacturing industry transform these products into many other useful goods. But before it reaches manufacturing industries, it is known to come out from extractive industries. Next under primary is, the first one was extractive and second one is genetic. Genetic as in the industry involved in the activities of rearing and breeding of living organism. Rearing and breeding of living organism. Now, what is this rearing and breeding? Like we have birds, plants, animals. So it is known as genetic industry. So this is how the first category of industry is defined, the primary industry, categorized into extractive and genetic industry. Next industry is a secondary industry. So this industry is concerned with covering raw material into finished products. So in the primary industry, we had the raw material, and now when this raw material is being converted into finished product, now this conversion will take place at secondary industry. So the material which have already been extracted at the primary stage are the concern of secondary industry. Such material are processed to produce goods for final consumption or for further processing by other industrial units, right? So this is how the secondary industry has been defined. So whatever raw material we got in, what do we say, in primary industry, now the processing of these raw material into the finished good, the final product, will be taken care by secondary industry. Now, again, this secondary industry is divided into two more categories. These categories are manufacturing industries as well as construction industries. So in manufacturing industries are basically engaged in the process of conversion of raw material into semi-finished goods. Semi-finished goods, okay. So these industry create a form utility by changing the form of raw material into finished products, okay. And the next one under secondary is construction industries. So the industry which are concerned with the construction of buildings, dams, roads, etc. These industry use the products of manufacturing industries such as cement, iron, steel, etc. So this is how secondary industries is being defined and characterized into two categories, that is manufacturing and construction industries, okay. Now, the third category under industry is tertiary industry. So the industry that are concerned with providing those services which facilitate the flow of goods and services which help the activities of primary and secondary industry is termed as tertiary industry. So what they are saying, the industries which are concerned, I mean, who provide services which facilitate the flow of goods and services and help the primary and secondary industry is known as tertiary industry. So basically, in tertiary industries, there is no production. So this is, you can say the tertiary industry is like a helping hand towards primary and secondary industry. So this is how tertiary industry is being defined. So with this, the classification of business activities under industry category is being done. That is primary industry, primary industry. Under primary industry, we have extractive, genetic. Secondary industry, under secondary, we have manufacturing and construction. And the third one is tertiary industry. Now, so this was the first classification of business activity, that is industry. The second form of classification of business activity is termed as commerce. Let's see what it is. So all those activities which help directly or indirectly in the distribution of goods to the ultimate consumer are known as commerce. There will be no use of producing goods unless and until these goods reach the ultimate customer. Obviously, what is the use if you are producing anything and it is not reaching the ultimate customer? There is no use of producing it, right? So through commerce, it is being done. So goods are produced at one place and consumer are scattered at different places, right? So commerce help in taking the goods to the ultimate consumers. Commerce can be classified again into two broad categories, that is trade and aid to trade, AID. That is things which help for trade, that is aid to trade. Now, when we talk about trade, so it is an integral part of commerce. It includes buy and selling of goods. The trade segment of commerce begins bring together the manufacturer and the consumers. It is a link between manufacturer and the consumer. Trade can be classified into internal trade as well as external trade. Now, in internal trade, it refers to buying and selling of goods and services within the geographical boundaries of a country. So when we buy and sell goods or services within the geography, within the country, you say, it is termed as internal trade. Under internal trade, goods and services are bought and sold in the home country currency only, right? So the international trade can be classified into wholesale trade as well as retail trade. It could be anything, wholesale or retail, but within the geographical or within the country. Next is external trade. It is very obvious that internal trade was internally and external trade would be outside the country where the goods are being produced. So when the buying and selling of goods and services is beyond the geographical limit of the country, it is termed as external trade. It is also known as trade between two or more countries. Now, in external trade, the market is very wide. External trade, again, classified into three categories. These are export trade, where we send our products to the foreign country. Import trade is where we import, where we, receive products from the foreign country. Whereas intraport trade. So intraport trade is in which imported goods and services are re-exported with or without any additional processing and repackaging. Interport trade is like you are importing certain goods and articles from any country and again packing it and selling it to some other country. So that is known as interport trade. So this is how the classification of business activities are done under the category industry and commerce. Okay, so with this, we are done with the classification. Now, let me start the next topic. Which is, over here we have only, that is objectives of business. Are you all getting what I'm trying to explain? Anybody can reply, yes, no, anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear or should I elaborate more?
No, ma'am. It's okay, ma'am.
It's okay, great. Thank you so much. So coming to the objectives of business. So over here, I have mentioned how many? 5 objectives: economic, social, human, national, and global objective. So whenever there is any business, so there has to be certain objectives why this business is being set up. So over here, the objectives of business are categorized in 5 categories. We'll look into one by one. The first one is the economic objective. We have studied in the class just now about the economic objectives under the characteristics of business, right? It is the same thing. It is saying again, that is the economic objective. So what things were there under economic objectives? The first thing was profit earning, right? Then consumers, we talked about creation of consumers, fulfilling the customer demands, it was there. Then we have regular innovation, we have talked about in yesterday's class, that is technological goals. Also, best possible use of resources. So these are subheadings under economic objectives. Like the main objective would be profit earning, then creation of the market, creation of the customers, fulfilling their demand, and use of the technology or updating the technology will come under economic objective. Next one is the social objective. So social objective are those objectives of business which are desired to be achieved for the benefit of the society. Since business operate in a society by utilizing its resources, the society expects something in return for its welfare as well. Very true. So, if business activities lead to socially harmful effect, there is bound to be public reaction against the business sooner or later. So, social objectives of business include production and supply of goods and services, adoption of fair trade practices, contribution to the general welfare of society, and provision of welfare amenities. So this is known as social objectives. This social objectives is also known as CSR, that is corporate social responsibility. In further classes, we will be studying about this corporate social responsibility in detail. So that is, so whenever any business is set up or you are producing anything and your nearby area people are being affected by it, so you need to do something for the welfare of those people so that those people won't get harmed by your activities, or it could not create any sort of health hazard for them. So it is very important whenever you are producing anything on such areas where people are being affected, you need to take care and take steps for their welfare, for their protection as well. So that is the second objective, that is social objective. Next is production. So under social objective, there are some certain subheadings which are production and supply of goods and services, adoption of fair trade practices, that is जो भी आपके trade practices है, you need to be very true to them. You need not cheat on them. Also, contribution to the general welfare of the society. So these are all social objectives. Next one is human objective. Human objective refers to the objective aimed at the well-being as of employees and also of people who are disabled, handicapped, and deprived of proper education and training. So the human objective of business include economic well-being of the employees, social and psychological satisfaction of employees, and development of human resources. That is the human objective. So every business is dependent upon human resources. That is a fact. So when your business is dependent on human resources, you hold certain responsibility towards them as well, that you need to take care of the people in your organization. Whereas the other public, yesterday we have discussed about the public which are affected by the business, you need to take care of those public as well. So that constitute human objective. Under human objective, what other things could be done, which are mentioned as economic well-being of the employee. By economic well-being of the employee, we mean like their proper remuneration is being given for the work they are doing. There is proper increment in their salaries, and the proper perks and incentives are being provided to them, and the mandatory funds are there, they have to be provided to the employees. So this is economic well-being of the employee has to be taken care of. What else could be done is social and psychological satisfaction of employees. And let's say any unhappy employee or any sad employee or any employee which is not happy with his work which you have given him to do, obviously if he is not happy with that work, he is not satisfied with the job he is doing, he is not going to perform well. So you need to take care of social and psychological satisfaction of that employee as well, which is very important. If the employee is not happy, obviously he is not going to give his full input into the job and you are not going to get good result. So that is the reason this has to be taken care of. Next one is development of human resources through training and development programs. Also, well-being of socially and economically backward people. So business unit being inseparable part of society and hence should help backward classes and also physically and mentally challenged people as well. So while let's say while recruiting the staff, the business should give preference to physically and mentally challenged people. Business unit can also help and encourage meritorious students by awarding a scholarship for higher studies. So this is how well-being of socially and economically backward people can be taken care of under human objective. Clear? Let's move to next one. That is the national objective. So being an important part of the country, every business must have the objective of fulfilling the national goals and aspirations. 1 minute. Yeah. So the goal of the country may be to provide employment opportunities to the citizen, earn revenue for its exchequers, become self-sufficient in production of goods and services, also promote social justice. So business activities should be conducted keeping these goals of the country in mind, which may be called as national objectives of the country. Clear? Now come the last one, that is the global objective. So global objectives, we can say that when there is global competition and to face the global competition, global market, every business has to produce goods and services which are globally competitive, okay, and have huge demand in foreign markets. This will improve the image of the exporting country and also earn more foreign exchange for the country. So this is how global objectives is being served. So with this, we are done with the classification, business activities, and objectives of business. Am I clear? Okay. So we'll move towards the next topic. What do we have here? We have forms of business organization. So over here, we can see there are 4 forms of business organization, which are sole proprietorship, partnership firm, limited liability partnership, and joint stock company. So these are the 4 kinds of business organization. So let's talk about one by one. The first one is sole proprietorship. So sole trading or sole proprietorship concern is a business concern owned and operated by one person only. Okay. So the sole proprietor is a person who carries on business exclusively by and for himself. So he is the only one who is running the business and by himself only. And most of the time, there are no outside finances for this sole proprietorship. Basically, the person who is running sole proprietorship will invest his own saving, his own money into the business. And what are the features of sole trading concern? The first feature is single ownership. There will be only one owner and single owner of sole proprietorship. There will not be any existence of partnership in sole proprietorship. Next is personal organization or common identity. A sole trader concern has no separate legal identity independent of the owner. The owner and the business concern are one and the same. So you do not have any legal identity as a owner of the company. Your company and you will be one identity. Fine. The owner owns everything the business own, and he owes everything the business own. That means whatever things are included in the business will be owned by the proprietor, and whatever proprietor is holding will be of its business. So that is one very interesting characteristic of Sole proprietorship, that is personal organization or common identity, that is business and the proprietor have the same identity, single identity. There are no two things like this is the business and this is the owner. It will be the one. Sole proprietorship means one. You are the business. You are the person running the business. You are the business. Let's say like that. The next one is own capital. I have mentioned it earlier as well. Like in sole trading, the capital is employed by the owner himself from his personal resources. Okay. He may also borrow money from his friends and relatives if he cannot depend solely on his personal resources. But no financiers are being included in sole proprietorships. Okay. He might take a loan or personal loan from some friends or relative like that, but nobody will have any take in the ownership of that company, of that business. So this is how sole trading concern is divided. Acha, these four proprietorships or business organization, that is sole, partnership, LLP and joint stock company, might come as one long answer where you need to define all four of them, or they might come separately as short answers as well. So they may ask define sole proprietorship and mention the features of sole proprietorship, or they could ask advantages and disadvantages of sole trading or sole proprietorship, as well as suitability of sole trading concern. So these all things will constitute one answer under sole proprietorship. So like that, from any four, one could also come your examination, or you need to define all the four. So anyhow, a question might come. Now moving towards the next one, that is partnership firm. So as a business enterprise expand beyond the capacity of single person, like when one person is not able to hold the business or run the business properly, a group of persons have to join hands together and supply the necessary capital and skills towards that business, right? Partnership firm thus grew out to the limitation of sole trading concern. The growth of partnership form of organization can be attributed to the need to arrange more capital, also provide better skills and avail the specialization. Fine. According, okay, over here we have this Partnership Act, which was given in 1932. And according to this act, under section 4, we have partnership is the relation between the persons who have agreed to share the profit of a business carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. So this is how partnership is being defined under section 4 of Partnership Act 1932. Whenever you are defining partnership firm, do mention this quote from Partnership Act, this section 4. Also, it has been defined as a partnership is an agreement among two or more people to carry on jointly a lawful business and to share the profit arising from them. Persons who enter into such agreement are known individually as partners and collectively as firm. Right? So the people will known as partners, and the company, the name of the organization will be termed as firm, F-I-R-M, firm. Again, under this partnership firm, there are certain characteristics. What are these characteristics? That the first one is two or more people. Like under sole proprietorship, only one owner was there, but under partnership, there will be two, minimum of two, and the maximum limit is, I'll let you know what is the maximum limit. So at least two persons must pool resources to start a partnership firm. The Partnership Act 1932 does not specify any maximum limit on the number of partners. There is no limit for maximum number. So minimum is two, maximum is, there is no limit. However, the Company Act lays down that any partnership or association of more than 10% in case of banking business and 20% in other type of business is illegal under registered as a joint stock company. So this is what Companies Act is saying, that under banking business, association of more than 10 is illegal. Also, 20% in other than banking, the limit is 20%. More than 20 is illegal. Fine. So this is how they have defined partnership. Also, agreement. A partnership comes into being through an agreement between persons who are competent to enter into a contract. The agreement may be oral, written, or implied. It is, however, good to put everything in black and white to avoid dispute later. By terming black and white, we mean transparency has to be there. Each and everything need to be orally, communicated or written somewhere. Next is lawful business. The partners can take up only legally blessed activities. Any illegal activity carried out by partner does not enjoy the legal sanction. Obviously, whatever you are doing under partnership firm has to be legal in nature. Then we have profit sharing. The partnership agreement must specify the manner of sharing profit and losses among partners. However, mere sharing of profit is not a conclusive proof of partnership. Employees and creditors who share profit cannot be called partners. So this is the concept of profit sharing under it. Also, we have agency relationship. Unlimited liability is there, not a separate legal identity like we have for sole proprietorship. Now, we were saying it as separate legal entity, but partnership firm is not a specific legal entity. Next is transfer of interest is there, and mutual trust and confidence. So these are the all characteristics of partnership firm. Under this, partnership deed is there. Again, a question might come on as short answer where you need to define partnership deed. Partnership deed is basically the partnership agreement. So whatever there is mentioned for basic for being a partnership firm, all those things are mentioned in partnership deed. Okay. Like things like name of the firm, name and addresses of the partner, nature of the firm of business, why the business is, what are you doing, that you need to mention, date of the agreement, then principal place of the firm business, duration of partnership, amount of capital, the proportion in which the profit and loss will be shared, amount of withdrawal allowed to each partner, and rate of interest. All these things are mentioned under partnership deeds. Okay. Also, we have advantages of partnership as well as disadvantages of partnership, which you need to study and write if a separate question is coming under partnership firm. Okay. Next one is LLP. LLP is limited liability partnership. So according to LLP Act 2008, an LLP is a body corporate formed and incorporated under this act. It is legal entity separate from that of its members. Now, what are the features of this LLP? Let's see. An LLP must be registered under the LLP Act 2008, the first thing. Second is, it is a body corporate having a separate entity of its own. So it has perpetual succession. Any change in its member does not affect the existence, right, and liabilities. So when we have talked about the sole proprietorship and partnership, we talked about people who are running the business. In sole property proprietorship, we said one single person is there. In partnership firm, we are saying more than 2 and maximum, some limits are there according to Companies Act. So for these type of firms like sole and partnership, there is some what do you say, identity is there. But for LLP, we do not have any identity of people, identity of members of it. LLP is in itself, what do you say, a separate entity from its members. So it's not like your company, your firm will be there, but the people working in it, the members, the partners might change, and there will be no changes in the nature and characteristic of LLP. So that is the feature of LLP. Also, it has perpetual succession, perpetual succession is one after another partner may join, or owner may join the company or leave it. Any individual or a body corporate can be a partner in LLP. Every LLP must have at least 2 partners. At least 2 need and LLP must maintain proper books of account as per the double entry system. Also, an LLP must file with the registrar a statement of account and solvency along with its annual return in the prescribed form. So this is how LLP is being defined. Again, you have advantages and disadvantages of LLP. You need to study that too. And the last one is joint stock company, and in simple terms, it is called as the company. So the company form, a business organization, was evolved to overcome the limitation of sole trading and partnership form of business. Company has become the dominant form of ownership for large-scale enterprises because it enables collection of vast financial and managerial resources, which provide for limited liability and continuity of operations. A joint stock company is an incorporated and voluntary association. Please note these 2 points. Very important, a company to be joint stock company when it has incorporated and voluntary association of individual with a distinctive name, perpetual succession, and common seal, and usually having a joint capital divided into transferable shares or for a fixed value. So this is how joint stock company is being defined. Okay, where were we? Okay, the features of the company. Let's see one by one the features. The first one is the separate legal entity. So a joint stock company is also known as separate legal entity. Why? A company has a separate legal existence apart from the person composing it. It has own property and sue in court by law and can be sued. Similarly as LLP. Then we have number of members. In case of public limited company, the maximum number of members is unlimited, the minimum being 7. So the minimum for LLP is 7 members. In case of private limited company, the minimum is 2 and maximum is 50. So if it is a private company, minimum is 2 and maximum 50, whereas for a joint stock company, the minimum number is 7 and maximum is not being mentioned. There could be any. Next is a separation of ownership from management. That is, the shareholders are the owners while the management is entrusted on a board of directors who are separate from shareholders. Further, the shareholders are not the agents of the company and a shareholder cannot bind them by his or her act. Also, there is transferability of shares, rigidity of object. That is, a company cannot do any business not already included in the object clause. You cannot do any activity which you have not mentioned before. So a change in the object clause under the condition laid down in the Companies Act is essential for making any alteration in the scope of business. Next is financial resources, that is on account of liability and diffusion of ownership. In joint company organization, there is a great scope of mobilizing a large capital. And statutory regulation is also there, that a company has to comply with numerous and varied statutory requirements. It has to submit a number of returns to the government. So this is how a joint stock company is being defined. Again, you have advantages as well as disadvantages of these. Also, one more thing is there, that is suitability of company form of organization. So this is the company form of ownership is ideally suited to the following types of business. What are these business? Let's see. The first one is heavy or basic industry requiring huge investment of capital, the first category. Second one is departmental stores, chain stores, and enterprises engaged in the construction of bridges, dams, multi-story buildings, where economies of scale are possible. Next is the line of business, which involve great uncertainty or heavy risks, such as airlines. And the last one is, the last suitability is the businesses where only company form of organization is permitted by law, such as banking business. So with this, we are done with our forms of business organization. The 4 forms are there: sole, partnership, limited liability, and joint stock company. You are not supposed to leave any one of them. All 4 are important. It could come as one long answer or come individually as separate answer. Okay. So everything is clear, whatever I have taught till now. Any question regarding the forms of business organization or classification of business activities, or while defining the business, we have studied about characteristics of business? Any doubt regarding the things which we have discussed today? Yes, no, anything? No, great. No, as in Jhansi, what are you trying to say? You do not understood or you understood? Okay, now in the next class, so the topic which we have discussed in the previous class and today's class, I hope 2 long answer are being covered very easily with all those things. So you need not leave the topics which we have discussed yesterday and today. These are very important from your long answer point of view. Short answer can come from anywhere, but these are very important from examination point of view. So in tomorrow's class, we will be studying about environmental analysis as well. So under environmental analysis, environmental scanning is there, environmental forecasting is there, as well as analysis methods are there. So we have 3 methods which we are going to study. The first one is SWOT analysis. Then we have PEST or pestle analysis, and the third one is Porter's competitive model. So in the next class, we'll be studying about these analysis, and also I'll try to cover certain environments, that is economic, political, legal, and socio-cultural environment. Okay. If any doubt is there for today's class, or if any topic is there which you want me to explain to you, please message me in the chat box so that we could discuss it in tomorrow class, because after tomorrow, next week, we'll be having class. So just go through the syllabus and let me know if any topic need to be covered from the things which we have studied till now, or any other thing. Because in this six classes, we are what do we say? It's not possible to cover whole of the syllabus in 6 classes. There is no point in rushing through each and every topic. So my basic aim is to make you understand the topics which are of more importance or that could come in your long answers. And understanding the subject is very important. So my basic aim is to make you clear. See, you might all have the syllabus. Your syllabus has been divided into blocks, right? So whenever you look into the block, you can see certain heading. That is, the first block over here, for example, is your introduction to business environment. So now you are able to say what is a business environment, what are the types and natures. Then all those things which we have studied till now. Then the next block is scope of business environment. So what is the scope? Where your business is being spread up, and your business and the people are affected by the business will come under scope of business environment. Also, we will be studying industrial policy. Some industrial reforms are there. Then we have industrial policy 1991. Industrial sickness is there, and competition policy and law is there. So we'll try covering them by the next week. Also, there are in block 4, we will be studying about financial institution arrangements. That is financial markets, regulator of markets, that is SEBI, RBI, FERA, all those things, and monetary as well as fiscal policy. I told you in yesterday's class also about them. And the last block we have over here is global environment. Okay. So any doubt, anything is there, you can put up in the chat box today or tomorrow. And we'll meet tomorrow, the same time at 12. So I'll take your leave now. We'll meet tomorrow. Take care. Bye.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. Bye, Jason.